Why should you change your mindset about finance? Hi, how's it going? I'm Domingo Herrera from the Pro Financial Group. And today we have a super interesting program because we have a very special guest for us, none other than our friend and partner, Fabio Siascioche. Fabio, it's a pleasure to have you with us on this program. How are you feeling today, and what news do you have for our people? Because there's really a lot to learn from these young people, and I think you and I need to pay attention. Go ahead, Fabio. Hello, Domingo. Well, thank you very much for this invitation. I think quickly to put it into context, as you said, right now this new generation is understanding the changes, and for many of the people
They are connected to understand these processes. We just recently received worldwide news about the first generation of Tesla robots, right? These robots are focused on being able to support in domestic areas. They will be able to help with childcare, cooking, cleaning, and many other services in general. However, it really grabs my attention because even though it's the first generation, it already has connections with artificial intelligence. I'm starting to understand the evolution of what this entails, and the reason I mention evolution, Domingo, is because something that really caught my attention is the fact that these robots are mainly going to work and take away a lot of the responsibility of manual labor. And what stands out to me even more is that in the United States, who is the main source of manual labor, Domingo?
See you later.
And many Latinos are the ones who are mainly concentrated, unfortunately, in manual labor. So, did you see that news? Did you already see the launch? Do you know anything about the launch of this first generation of Tesla robots?
Of course, and I've also seen that this is used in the field because someone says in the field, I have no risk of losing my job. No, but already they are going to do field work, which means all human labor is being replaced by a system of.
Exactly, Domingo. And something that I find very, very curious is let's understand what technological advances are, for example.
Already 10 years ago, I don't know if you remember the first cell phones. They were these big bulky devices, right? And it was really complicated to use them on a daily basis. Nowadays, a cell phone does so many things. It works as an audio recorder, a video recorder, just a recorder in general. They work for calls, messages. They have many functions in the end. I mention this because 10 years ago it started with something basic, and today they have evolved a lot. Likewise, today is the first generation that will pass in 10 years. And understanding this process, we realize that right now, on Sunday, with the small advances in artificial intelligence, the people who can check and can Google these kinds of things, the big tech companies, companies like Google, companies like Amazon, some of the biggest companies, they are having mass layoffs where more than 200,000 employees have been let go. And sometimes people stay put because they think they have something secure. But the only sure thing is that with these advancements, they will surely be laid off. So this is where we need to work on things. It's either I start taking action and making changes in my life, or unfortunately, later on, how am I going to compete against those machines?
Fabio and I realized that 63% of American workers, not city workers, work in the city. Fabio, 63% of American workers cannot cover a $500 emergency, and you can find that on CNBC. You can also find it on Forbes, as we saw. Fabio, if someone cannot cover $500 now while working full-time, what will happen when they cannot go to work or are replaced by a robot?
Well, Domingo, this opens up a lot of possibilities for us, and two of the most important ones. I'd say the first is that sometimes people say that they can't make changes right now because they have an emergency, some problem has come up with work, the economy, I don't know, a lot of excuses, but they haven't found the right situation.
In 20 years, for example, or in 15 years, there are people who have been in this country for 15 years, 10 years, 20 years, and they do not even have $500. And you mentioned the statistic, 63% of workers, they cannot cover this emergency. So people always think they are just going through a rough patch, but that they'll improve. But that situation has been going on for a long time. So if you are not aware that is in a financial situation that is not ideal and needs help, unfortunately, will face some situations. And the second point, which is also very important, Domingo, is that these robots, for example, when we consider the fact that they cost around $30,000, imagine if I had to hire someone to do the basic activities they do.
Activities for me or everyday tasks. And an average employee can earn $36,000 a year. That's someone making $750 a week. It's cheaper to buy a robot for $30,000 that can do many of these tasks. And you don't have to pay insurance or anything like that, making it much more
And it
hassle-free.
will last more than a year. And it will last more than a year. No, no, no. We need to buy robots, folks. We need to buy robots so you can eliminate all these payments you do not need to make. I sincerely believe that humans should not work for money. I really believe that humans need to create a system that works for them. Fabio, I've been analyzing and I've seen that Jeff Bezos from Amazon earns 192 and something, almost $200 million a day. Look it up on Google, you'll see. Jeff Bezos making almost $200 million a day. We are talking about an average of $8,000 an hour. $8,000 an hour. And how can he possibly work to make that money? Well, he doesn't have to. What he does is have a system working for him. Why don't you and I start creating a system that helps us make money while we're sleeping? Let's have the robots work for us instead of us being the robots working for others.
What do you think, Fabio? No, this would be wonderful. And I think that to fulfill that part, which I find so important among all the topics being discussed, is to understand that if this person, Jeff Bezos, earns those millions of dollars, sometimes people get concerned, right? When they're told, no, you have the chance to earn a little more to boost your finances. Some people cannot even imagine earning $1,000 in a day, or $10,000 in a day, or $15,000. So if you have a problem and you think earning $10,000 in a day or $1,000 in a day is a lot, start realizing that the problem is not the system, but rather it's in your limiting beliefs.
That's it, limiting belief, family, and don't blame yourself for it. We were taught that money is bad and that the root of all evil is the love of money and everything else. But the reality is that the root of all evil, Fabio, is the lack of money. Do you know what it's like for a family that needs money to operate on a loved one and has to let them die because there's no money?
Right now, there's something going on in our family that's similar to that issue, and it's the fact that we have a relative who's dealing with a serious illness and her insurance doesn't cover it, and they tell her, well, since there's no money for the illness, you just have to face the situations. And it says, because here the system tells you either you have money to survive or you simply die. And that's how the system is. It doesn't mean it's fair, but that's how the system is, right, Domingo? Well, I don't know. In the United States, that usually doesn't happen, but in countries I know,
Someone had an accident, and in the accident, they lost their wallet. The wallet had their credit cards, which means they had no way to pay. At the clinic, they let them die. It's a shame, but if you do not think it's true, investigate, and you'll see it's indeed true. Yeah, and in the United States, you get treated, but there are countries where you do not. So it means that money helps. Money is a tool. I do not think we are materialistic. It's simply a tool, like the knife in your house that serves for everything. In other words, family, we need to replace your income so that you do not have to rely on whether you can go to work or not, or have a robot pay you. Believe me, they're making a robot right now to replace you. So, Fabio, we've reached the final part. I am very proud to know you and that you are with us here on this program, delivering high-level financial information.
thank you very much, Domingo, for the invitation. And to wrap up, I'll leave with this phrase I learned from you. Sometimes people think that those with money are the ones who think about it, that those with wealth think about money. But in reality, it's those who have less money who think about it the most because they're constantly wondering, will I have enough? Do I need to check my account? How do I pay this now? What do I do now? Those who don't have money think about it more than those who actually do. So thanks again, Domingo, for this invitation. Domingo, thank you very much for this invitation. It has been a pleasure to share with you and with everyone on our channel.
Until next Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, your friend and host, Domingo Herrera, along with Fabio Siachoque at your service. Thank you.